Thank you very much for coming along. Tonight's show is about Nestle, and it's about breast milk substitutes. It's about baby milk powder. And Nestle they're the largest or the biggest food manufacturer in the world. Their annual budget for advertising, promotion, PR around the globe is $7 billion. You could have adverts every day for $7 billion with Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky there on telly with Nescafe going, I always like to wash my mouth out with a nice cup of coffee. $7 billion. And these companies and Nestle lay a lot of importance on brand loyalty. Like, you buy one product, you buy all of them. You know, it's brand loyalty. And when you think about it, you think, how can I be loyal to a bar of chocolate? The show is also not just about Nestle, it's about PR and advertising, I suppose. And PR and advertising from whatever company is weird, because they'll only tell you the bits that they want to use to sell the product. They won't tell you any of the reality of it. You know, you don't turn on the telly and there's a bloke there who's pissed himself, covered in vomit. Just go, well, she's fucking left me! She left me, the bitch! Carlsberg. They don't. And there's a problem with baby milk powder. There's nothing actually wrong with the product of baby milk powder. It's how it is used. The World Health Organization and UNICEF say that if you could reverse the downward trend of breastfeeding, you could actually save 1.5 million children's lives. And the problem is, if it's not clearly marketed, if it's not clearly labelled, if you haven't got the instructions, right, if you can't read it, if it's in a foreign language, if the health warnings aren't there for you, then you can misuse the product, and that might actually result in infant mortality. So, 1981, the World Health Organization developed a thing called the WHO Code, which isn't anything to do with Roger Daltrey swinging microphones and trout fishing. And it was about the advertising and marketing of breast milk substitutes. And Nestle signed up to the code and said yes. In fact, they went one step further. They've got a little charter here, which they give to members of the public. It says, Nestle does, as you can see, it says, Nestle does comply with both the letter and the spirit of the World Health Organization's International Code of Marketing of Breast Milk Substitute. I thought, hurrah. They said it does support efforts by governments to implement the international code through legislation. I thought, fantastic. They also said Nestle invites government officials, health professionals and consumers to draw to its attention any Nestle infant formula marketing practices in developing countries which they consider are not in conformity with the above code. So when we found a few bits and pieces that questioned it, it was my moral duty to bring it to their attention. And we did. We got a few letters from various southern African countries that raised a question mark on it. And we found out that Nestle were having a big launch party down in Piccadilly Circus on the day of the eclipse to sort of launch their new Nescafe stuff. 3, 2, 1. Martine, are you aware of the health problems about baby milk advertising? And are you aware of those? Martine, are you aware of the health? I'm here, hiya. Are you aware of the health problems, Martine, of baby milk advertising, the way Nestle market their products and develop them? Have they told you about it, Martine? Oh, right, so is there any problem there? It's just that we got the invite and we thought we'd come along.
Absolutely no problem at all.
It's just,
can you bear with me?
Yeah, sure. I've got what I've got here is, you know, it says here that you've got, because Nestle are in breach of the... Well, you're asking the photographer to take some shots of the demonstrators and all that?
No, absolutely not. No. We're just taking photographs of everything that's happening.
So there's no shots of the demonstrators or any of that?
I've no idea.
Hiya. You've been photographing for Nestle?
I don't wish to talk to you if you don't mind.
Are you from Nestle?
Yeah.
Lovely. What it is? Can you give us your name?
No, I think you ought to speak to Marion.
Martine, your charter is wrong. Your charter's fibbing here.
Well, we obviously don't feel the charter is fibbing.
Are you aware of that, Martine? Did they tell you about that, Martine? So Martine, You're all right there, sweetheart.
We don't believe in conflict. We believe in trying to work together.
I've just been sandwiched by a couple of security guards, and you don't believe in conflict.
I don't work for Nestle.
Oh, don't you? Do you work for Impact then?
I do.
Oh, right. Oh, I see. Do Impact have a sort of like an ethical policy, or do they just work for anyone?
We abide by that charter, and we are, we do believe that we behave ethically. Try me one more time on that.
Okay.
Is that? If people can actually come to us with definite evidence, then we will act upon it. But people don't come up with any evidence. They don't give us.
This has been sent to you, so.
Yeah, well, that's grand. But as I say, that's all about different interpretations of the code, and it is very complex. But at the end of the day, we wouldn't be publishing that code if we didn't believe in it.
So we went away and we started phoning up some of the southern African countries, and we phoned up Zimbabwe and got put through to the health minister. I said to him, Nestle say that you support them, that basically Nestle are saying that Zimbabwe say you comply with the WHO code. And he said, well, they do comply with the original 1981 code, but they don't necessarily comply with the subsequent resolutions, which are equally important. I said, oh, really? I said, what about supporting governments through their process of putting the code into legislation? Because it's just a voluntary code. Are you trying to make it law? He said, oh, yes.
They called a meeting of parliamentarians, and oddly enough, only 3 turned up to try and tell the parliamentarians that if we went ahead with putting the code into regulation, they would remove themselves from Zimbabwe. We knew this to be an idle threat.
There's a thing called the Prima Baby Show, the Mother and Baby Show, the Olympia, which is the idea of a baby show is just weird anyway. There's a whole load of them on a wall. I'll have that one. And what it was Nestle have got a stall there, and they got this new, part of their new marketing logo is this blue bear. And so we thought, right, we should try and sneak in. Hello.
Eat him up.
No, I can't eat you up. You're too lovely. What's your name?
Anaya.
Anaya, that's a lovely name. This is Blue Bear.
Blue Bear.
And I am Grey Bear.
You're Grey Bear.
Hello. What's your name?
Corey.
Corey. Hello, Corey. I'm the Grey Bear of Truth. Who can I speak to?
Sorry?
Who can I speak to?
Can you talk to me?
Excellent. This is, on the back of the Nestle charter, it says report incidents.
I think you have had contact with the company, haven't you?
Yes, I have, but I found more.
What?
I found more things.
What
If you listen to
I'd like
this.
to request is that you speak to your contact tomorrow in the office, please.
This is Zimbabwe.
I'd be very pleased.
And this is the chief. This is the health minister. This is like Frank Dobson. Should I turn it up for you?
Well, no, it's okay. I'd be very
Because what he's saying is that Nestle tried to economically blackmail Zimbabwe.
We're very busy at the moment.
I know, but you see, I've come here as a bear, so it's nice and friendly.
Right. Okay.
To match with your lovely blue bear.
Thank you very much. That's very
I
kind.
love bears. Do you like bears?
I do too.
Bear.
As you can see, we're up to our eyes, and if
I
you could
know.
just perhaps wait till tomorrow when the office is open again and contact.
But the suit hire runs out. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
There for certain, because today's the day the teddy bears have their picnic.
We then discovered we got a tin. Here's the tin. This is from Mozambique. This is the tin. Here it is. And you can see it's all in English on the back there. It's all in English. Now, there are 33 languages and dialects recognised in Mozambique. English isn't one of them. So I felt duty-bound and morally obligated to go and tell Nestle about it. I am brand loyal. I have taken an oath of allegiance to my chocolate. I have recently bonded in a bizarre pagan ceremony with some smarties. I must go. Nestle UK had said, no, we're not going to talk to you on camera. We'll fax you our answers. So I thought, right, we'll go to the top. So we went out to Switzerland. And we got to Switzerland, and Nestle have got a food museum, right, which is fascinating, which is 5 minutes away from their headquarters in a place called Vevey. So we went into their food museum. We had a few bits and pieces, and we just set up a little stall and put the tins on display, and then started phoning up the chief executives. And because the Swiss are so anally retentive and respectful of authority, no one in the museum thought for a moment that we hadn't got permission.
Jeffrey Fuchs, hello there. My name's Mark Thomas.
Oh, the famous Mark Thomas.
From Channel 4, hi. We've just got some examples of Nestle breaking the code, the WHO code. And
I'm sorry.
As your charter.
I'm sorry, I do not give interviews impromptu over the telephone.
Well, that's fine, because we're down at the Nestle Museum, and I've got the examples here with me.
I'm sorry, did you hear what I said?
Yes, I know, but would you like to...
Did you hear what I said?
I did hear what you said.
Good. I said I do not give impromptu interviews over the telephone.
Is there someone that we could talk to who will talk to us about these examples here of Nestle breaking the code, then?
Well, if you have some examples, why don't you submit them to us?
Well, we're just around the corner. Where are you, Mr. Fuchs? Hello?
I am in my office.
In Vevey?
Yes, and I have...
Well, we can bring them round to you if you like.
So we get in the car, we drive round 5 minutes away. Huge, like headquarters. The car comes in, the car stops, we get out the car, I've gone to the boot, suddenly two blokes just next to us. This way, please, gentlemen. No filming, please, no filming. This way, please, gentlemen. Oh, right, are we expected? This way, please, gentlemen. Is anyone waiting for us? This way, please, gentlemen. Please go to the lady just through on the other side of the door. And there's a woman standing on the other side of the door. I'm like, fucking hell, I've walked into a cuckoo clock. It's fucking... And as we walk into the room, this one just leads in, please wait here. And the door, when you open the door, it goes... Right, it doesn't go... which is creaky, right? It's posh and powerful. Seriously, if you ever hear a dog go... someone important's about to do a bad thing. So we're sitting down in this room, and it's just like this concrete room with a view straight onto Lake Geneva. And we're just sitting there, and I was just thinking, I bet they've got underground bunkers. I bet they've got underground bunkers with loads of blokes running around in orange or white boiler suits. And there's a monorail system or some little mini-moats. Right, and some oil drums, and somewhere in the middle, a big machine going, 5 days and 3 hours till countdown. And eventually this guy, Mr. Renk, just walks in, just... OK. Oh, hello, pleased to meet you, Mr. Renk. Lovely, thank you. And we start chatting to him and explaining, because we've set the exhibit up in the room. And we start talking him through it. And he says, right, OK. We said, well, this tin here, we think it's a breach of the code, you see, the World Health or International Code. And he said, that's your interpretation. All right. 3 days and 4 hours. Right, then we discovered this little tin. This tin is from Malawi. And this tin, you can see that it's in English and French. What happened was, in 1994, the Malawian government asked Nestle to put Chichewa up there, which is a language that they speak in Malawi. They said, can you put it in Chichewa? And Nestle still haven't managed to do that yet, since 1994. So it's taken them 5 years to do it. And we thought, well, we should have a word with Nestle. But obviously they're not talking to us, and so we thought, well, we should try and find a way to talk to them. We found out that Nestle had a stall at the Lib Dems conference in Harrogate. I wonder, could you just see what language we've got here? Yeah, can you tell us which ones? Do you see any Chichewan?
I don't know Chichewa language.
So you've just got two languages?
Well, I say I don't know.
No, but you've only got English and French, yeah? This is from Malawi. This is a copy. Have you got that? You can have a copy of this. Thank you ever so much. There we are. There's your tin label from Malawi.
If you say so.
It is from Malawi. Right. It's all proper and vouched for. Do you want to take that? Because you can present that. Because I know in your charter it says that you're particularly keen for people to sort of like bring to the attention when there are breaches in the WHO code. On the Malawi tin, they did say, now listen. They said, yes, they did approach us in 1994, and we did agree that we'd put Chichewa up on the tins. But Nestle say they've had some difficulties dealing with the Malawian government, which has caused the delay. And they intend to get the tins actually printed and out on the market in the next 2 weeks. And we said, that's fine, but do you think you've been in breach of the WHO code at any point in that 5 years up until you put the thing on the label? And they haven't answered that one yet. Mozambique, I don't know if you know this, has got 33 officially recognised languages. Now, obviously, Nestle can't be expected to print 33 languages on a tin, but the one language that isn't on that 33 list is English, which is the only language on the tin, you see, which is a bit bad, really, isn't it? And what head office have said is this is a rogue tin.
What it was made for.
They've said it's a rogue tin that's got in.
It's a complex issue, and we hope that your work...
Well, no, it's very clear. You print the labels in appropriate languages. If they're not there, you break the code. If you break the code, then you've broken your charter. It's quite simple.
We'll check out the details on those for you.
OK, thank you very much. So, the thing was, they actually said, this was a response to the tin from Maputo, from Mozambique. They said it's a rogue tin. They said, well, look, this is from South Africa. It was smuggled across the border into Mozambique to avoid paying the customs duty on it. And they smuggle it over and sell it there. And we don't mark it in Mozambique. We say, but you do have an agent there. And they said, yeah, but, you know, this tin is from South Africa. And that's how it's got there. We said, well, if it is from South Africa, why is there no Afrikaans, Zulu or Xhosa on it? And they said to us, the South African authorities have okayed this. And we said, it doesn't matter if the South African authorities have okayed it. It's the WHO code that says appropriate language. Your charter says WHO code. Your charter says comply. And they said, well, there's not enough room on the tin. This is a very small tin. It's only 250 grams. We said, the charter doesn't exempt on issues of size. Size doesn't matter when it comes to baby milk and appropriate languages. And they said, well, it is too small. And we said, well, funny you should say that, because we've got some tins from Switzerland, which are 300-gram tins, which are 50 grams more than that one, and they've got Italian, French and German on them. You've managed to squeeze that all on, haven't you? Could you give us a response to that? They haven't got back to us on that one. This one's weird. This was another one from Malawi. This time, all the instructions on the back, on this panel here, are in English, Afrikaans and Zulu, which is great, very good. And we think, well, that's very good, but why have you got the South African tin in Malawi? And anyway, if it is for South Africa, very well done about the Zulu, and very well done about the Afrikaans. Why is the warning only in English, though? Why is the warning here? Breast milk is best for babies. Before you decide to take any infant formula, consult your doctor or clinic for advice. Why is that only in English? Then on this bit it says, only use scoop for this can. Consult feeding table. Why is that only in English? We thought to ourselves. And so we asked them about that as well, and they haven't got back to us about that. Then we started getting some other stuff in. And we start off with this one here. It's from Pakistan. Not a little bit of Urdu on it at all. Not a bit of Urdu. And they said, but the Urdu, the instructions are inside in a leaflet. We said, that's not very good because it's about the packaging. And it's too late then. You know, if you've got to consult a doctor or a clinic before you use it, then it's no good buying it and then finding out afterwards. And they said, well, it's too small to actually print Urdu on it. There's not enough room. Well, what about this bit here? Looks like you could probably scribble something on it, doesn't it? And they didn't get back to us about that either. Then we found out about these two. These are two from Pakistan as well. NAN 1, NAN 2. This is infant formula and follow-on formula. Follow-on formula should not be confused with infant formula. Follow-on formula should not be given to newborn infants. And you think, well, there's no appropriate language here. There's no sort of proper sort of stuff in Urdu here. There's just a bit of Urdu down at the bottom. And then we discovered this. And this bit of paper says, these products shall be labelled in an appropriate language and in such a way as to avoid any risk of confusion between infant formula and follow-on formula. And that's an EU directive. Don't think they do that. So we thought, this is quite interesting. And I was talking to a person who was doing the sort of bulk of research on this, just suddenly said, look, this is being prepared in the Netherlands and is therefore subject to EU regulations. And we went, except in a more sort of triumphant way. I phoned up this Labour MP in Bournemouth and said, can I come and talk to you about Nestle and show you some bits and bobs? She said, yeah. She said, funny you should say that. I said, really? She said, yeah. She said, I'm meeting up with Hilary Parsons, Head of Corporate Affairs from Nestle. I said, are you? She said, yeah. I said, where's that? She said, the Bourne Hall Hotel in Bournemouth. I said, at any particular time? She said, 4 o'clock on Thursday. I said, that's good. I said, can I interview, say, 4:30? She said, yeah, that's not a problem. So I then phoned up this MEP, this Labour MEP, who's a lovely man called Richard, and I said, can I come and interview you and talk to you about European directives and Nestle? And he said, yeah, it'd be a pleasure. He said, where do you want to do it? I said, Bourne Hall Hotel? He said, yeah, all right. I said, round about 4 o'clock. He said, fine. When we walked into the room, there's 2 booths on the side of the wall, right? And this Labour MP, Tess Kingham's sitting there, her assistant sitting there, and Nestle are sitting with their backs to the room. And there's another booth directly on it. And as we walk in, I just thought, oh, fuck it. And just directed the MEP to sit right back to back with the Nestle people. And we start doing this interview. And after the interview, I've finished, and we'd explained all this stuff to him, and he said, thank you very much. I said, should we just show it to Nestle? He said, yeah, all right. So we just walked round.
Are you going to admit you're in breach? Are you actually going to take that thing from your charter that says we fully comply? Because that's misleading people. Are you going to do that?
We will respond fully to all the points that you raise.
Will you do that? If you're in breach, will you take it off your charter saying you comply?
We will respond fully to all the complaints that you've made. We're committed to getting things right.
In your code it says that you will discipline staff if there are any breaches. Have you ever done that?
We would regard it extremely seriously.
Have you ever done that, though?
We would take appropriate action.
Have you ever done it,
As I say, I will take all these things back to our head office, and we will come back with a full response.
I mean, sorry to hammer this on, but I mean, it is a really simple fact here. You're in breach, you say you're not. What are you going to do to actually tell the truth?
We do tell the truth. When things are raised with us, we get back with correct information.
So members of the public get this charter that say we fully comply in letter and spirit to the WHO code.
That explains to them what our responsibilities are
No,
and
that
what
actually
we
gives
aim
a commitment.
to do.
You said we fully comply. That's a commitment on behalf of Nestle.
And that is what we aim to achieve.
No. It's not about whether you aim to achieve it or not. I think it's great that you aim to achieve it. It's the fact that you state that you achieve it and you don't. But all I'm asking you, Hilary, is if you're wrong, will you just hold your hands up to it?
If there is a mistake, we will explain that to people.
No,
and
we don't want the explanation.
Right.
We want you to hold your hands up to it.
Well, I have already
said that
It's no good saying
we'll explain it, because then you don't accept any responsibility, do you? If you say we will explain it, you automatically assume the role of innocence.
These are our products, and we accept full responsibility for them, and we are committed to getting them right.
Could you get me an answer then of whether Nestle UK will remove from their charter the information that you fully comply with the code if you have breached it? I'm not looking for an explanation to it. I'm looking for a yes or a no to that one.
Nestle do say that they are, the world's biggest manufacturer. They're a large organisation. They are committed to the code. They're committed to getting it right. And also they say that they don't breach it. So that's what they say. But then you have to say, well, if all this stuff is coming up and it doesn't breach the WHO code, what is the point of the WHO code? What's the point of having it? If the WHO code has been breached by Nestle on some of these examples, then what can you do about it, and when are Nestle going to hold their hands up to it? Well, two of the things that we thought we might try is Tess Kingham, who's the Labour MP there, is going to take Nestle to the Advertising Standards Authority on their charter with all these bits and bobs. And also, can we just show the last bit with Richard? He's such a lovely, cuddly bunny. But if you could just show what Richard's going to do.
And I undertake to raise that on the floor of the European Parliament and to make a formal request to the European Commission to undertake an investigation with a view to infringement proceedings.
You have to decide for yourself what you think of their charter. You have to decide for yourself whether you think they're breaching the code. And if you can have such a thing as brand loyalty, you can also have such a thing as brand disloyalty. Thanks very much for coming along tonight.